Looking to replace your OEM diesel particulate filter or diesel oxidation catalyst? Look no further than DPF XFit, a complete line of aftermarket diesel particulate filters and diesel oxidation catalysts designed as an exact fit OEM replacement with all makes coverage for light, medium, and heavy-duty trucks. With thousands of units in stock, we ship the same or next day, and be sure to check out our comprehensive reverse OEM lookup tool. Always new, never remanufactured. For more information, be sure to visit dpfxfit.com. That's dpfxfit.com.
For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod driveline components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey everybody, WFO Radio is back. A little NHRA Nitro results show from the Gerber Collision and Glass Route 66 NHRA Nationals, presented by Peak out there at Route 66 Raceway. What an event. It was wild. We got hit by a dust storm. We saw a whole ton of track records. It was outrageous. And we're going to break it all down on this show. We got the winners, baby. Fast Jack Beckman going to be joining us literally seconds from now. This guy is on top of the world. Literally. We're going to talk with Jack about his big hole shot victory over Austin Prock in an all JFR final round. Fans of JFR racing, I've been all over the Facebook like pages and the groups trying to entice the people who like posting pictures about John from the 1980s to check out the show and watch his drivers live. Will they do it? That will be great. Also on the show, Gaige Herrera. Gaige with a big final round battle against Matt Smith. They're ripping the throttles. They're going back and forth. It's going to be a lot of fun talking to Gaige. Also on the show, Jason Galvin, called The Action. Jason and I were like breaking it all down. We're going to talk about it and break down the race, get his thoughts, get my thoughts, kind of talk about some of the big things that happened out there at Route 66 Raceway. And this weekend, I will be in Maple Grove, Pennsylvania. That's right, the House of Chaos, Lucas Oil Divisional Race. Kid Chaos Kyle Koretsky is going to join us on this show. We're going to talk about the event and the night of chaos. The big thing is, if you're in the area, $40 a carload. Fill your car up with 8 people, which you can do. 10 is a challenge. 8 is possible. And it's only $5 each because it's $4 a carload. If you come by yourself, it's $40. You got that figured out? We're going to talk with Kid Chaos all about it. But right now, from top of the world, Jack Beckman. What's up, Jack? Look at this guy. Where are you?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm on the roof of Figueroa Plaza in downtown LA, back to my day job.
Top of the world. Top of the world, ma.
Top of the world.
All right, whole shot victory over Austin. Let's tell everybody, cell service is sketchy. You're going to try real hard to stay with us, but let's get to the meat of the matter. Whole shot over Austin, epic run, maybe one of your best wins. Talk about it.
Yeah, I would have to say maybe it was my best win. Flew out last Tuesday so we could do a visit to Peak's corporate headquarters on Wednesday. Got to meet Tom Hervis, the owner of Old World Industries. Greg Natelick, the president of Peak, was out there. And then Brian Bolender and Bob Boyle, who've always been the liaisons of the race team, organized a couple hundred folks coming out there. 623 names. All the employees were on the hood of our Chevy every run that we made. And man, we made some weird runs and we missed a run.
Yeah, that final qualifying, the way I position it, you just saved John a little money. That was like 15 grand. You just handed right back to him, right? Don't worry about it.
I'm sure John didn't look at it that way. And that was one of those, the silver lining was it didn't happen on Sunday, right? If your car's not going to start, we were solidly in the show. We maybe missed out on some qualifying bonus points, but we stayed low. But then it didn't start for first round Sunday. And then it didn't start for the semis Sunday. And it seemed to be that it was 3 different problems. I've never had anything like that. I've had difficulty in starting once, never 3 times on the same weekend. And we were able to parlay that into getting the Wally at the end of the day. It was really wacky.
Well, wacky with that, wacky with the bad gas. That's something. You're using 87 to start these things. I would imagine, it sits around a couple of weeks, couldn't fire. But on race day, Dave Richards, Chad Green. Let's pick it up with Chad Green in that second round because he left really early, like a 3-something red. That had to like freak you out. Like you teach staying in the zone. That had to be a challenge.
It was unexpected, that's for sure. Of the first round, and that didn't even get us lane choice against Chad in the second round. So coming up there, we knew we had to push hard again, and our car didn't move a foot till it started smoking the tires. Thankfully, Chad red lit, so we got a freebie. And the weird thing is our teammate Austin Prock also smoked the tires that round and also benefited from an opponent's red light. It was just a wacky weekend.
Yeah. When was the last time that happened? 2 red lights in funny car. We just don't see it. Bizarre, but also you guys have 2 of the best cars in the category. And so it makes sense that people would want to step up. Chad with that 86, that was a great run. How are you navigating all the wackiness, right? Because it was also a big performance weekend too, with track records, speed records. There was a lot going on.
Yeah, well, drag racing's unique. You're never going to see a pro football quarterback, when his defense takes the field, run off into the stands and sign autographs. One of the things I love about drag racing is that we get to go out there and compete, right? You get your helmet on, you get your game face on, you get your mental approach correct. And then you get out of the car, you decompress, you hang out with the fans, you talk to the crew, you do parachutes, the between rounds maintenance, and then you ramp up and do it all again. And if you have a good weekend, you get to do it 8 times. It's a unique sport, and boy, it was a unique weekend. I've never had one like this. It was a fairy tale ending, right? We won our sponsors race at their hometown after qualifying number 1. But the road to getting there was anything but straight or smooth.
Yeah, and your signal seems to have stabilized. It's possible like you had your hand over the antenna or something, but you're looking good now, Jack. Of course, I probably just jinxed us. Looking at the standings, it's a good start. You said in the media center, you're now second behind Austin. In pro stock, it's Dallas Glenn and Greg Anderson, and they're teammates. And when it's teammates, it's hard to like build the rivalry or to force people to pick a side. But you did kind of an artful job explaining why you're hungry to win. Can you talk a little bit about that? Austin, he's young. He's got many years. You viewed it like a fleeting opportunity. I don't want to make it like the sun is setting on Jack Beckman, but that's kind of what you said.
Well, we don't put the trophies in a pool and have shared custody with them, right? If the Cornwell car wins, they get the trophy. If the Peak car wins, we get the trophy. And I don't mean to be selfish, but we wanted the trophy. And that team has been the class of the field. And beat them is always a high bar. And you know that, like, Austin's typically going to be 200s quicker than anybody he races on reaction time, unless that person rolls their car in deeper to make their light look better, in which case they make their tune-up look slower. You're just trading ET for reaction time. Austin races clean. He doesn't bump the car in to make his lights look better. He doesn't need to. And the rest of us are kind of playing catch-up on reaction time. So it was gratifying because Tim and Dan and Chris, my crew chiefs, and then all the Peak squad, the folks whose hands put that car together, typically give me a car that gets us the win light, right? My job's just not to fumble once they hand me the ball. It's awesome as a driver to get to give back to the team once in a while.
Well, you did. And the final round, I would play the final, but I don't want to do anything because we've got you stabilized. But it sounds like Loans, and I talked to Loans after the race, like, okay, Jack Beckman is, no one ever thought like, Jack was coasting. That's not what we mean. But when Austin is as good as he is and Jack goes out there and wins on a hole shot, it kind of changes the dynamic of what we're going to see. Not counting out Ron Capps, not counting out Matt Hagan, not counting out J.R. Todd, Chad Green. Those guys can run. But like this could be fun, like a little, old guy versus young guy dynamic that's easy to understand.
Funny, I never was officially labeled the old guy, but you're right. If you do the math, Austin is exactly half my age, and I'm the same age as his father, Jimmy. So I guess I am the old guy in this equation, and it's pretty cool to still be around getting to step on the throttle and to be doing it in a competitive car. And every time we go to a race, we know we're capable of winning. We stumbled at both of the four wides. Vegas was self-inflicted. Charlotte, we were just pushing maybe a little bit harder than we should have first round. We know what we did wrong. And we came to Chicago, and like I said, we qualified first and we won the race, but that really doesn't tell the whole story. We did have some struggles there. So we're still sorting out a couple of things in the bell housing, and hopefully New Epping and New England, hopefully that'll be the official get well weekend where we get back to our car going down the track, run after run after run, and being near the top of the pack.
So I don't expect you can see the comments, but everybody talking about two things. One, that you were the right guy for the job. We did that media day at Gino's East, and we had deep dish pizza, and we had a great time. And we talked about you and Austin running in the final round, and we predicted it, and we were right, and it happened. I spoke with John. John told me, he's like, Beckman was the choice because he's so good at communicating. He said, you're a talker, right? And he goes, I'm a talker, you're a talker. So everyone's saying that you're the right guy for the job. The boss clearly agrees. He seemed pretty happy after it was all over.
Yeah, I agree. It's still got to be a weird transition for John to be doing this for 50 years and then all of a sudden be on the sidelining without really having an official retirement after his accident. It's still got to be awkward sensation. But every time we push up to the burnout box and he sticks his head under the car and he gives us one of these, it's pretty heartwarming. And it's humbling to know that the fans, and John Force was the number one fan favorite out there. I haven't heard any pushback. It's been all gratifying to say, hey, I'm glad you were the one that John chose to stick in the car right now. And we don't know what his long-term plans are, but I know I'm going to get to run the full season for the championship. And it's nice to know we got a car and a team capable of winning it.
Well, yes. And we can go in depth in the future about any other sport where the athlete comes in and just starts winning, pitching well or scoring touchdowns, and then they don't get another opportunity. Like, that's a little crazy about drag racing, but I'm hoping that you have the next 5 years laid out for you, Jack. The other thing that everybody always talks about, we labeled you the old guy. That's not fair, but the working man. Everyone's commenting about it, like that you're a working man, that they love the fact that you're wearing a uni and you're at work. People love this. Like, it's a thing. It's a thing that you're a working guy and that you went to work.
Yeah, well, I need the money. I'm a hands-on guy. Thank goodness I had to resign Schindler Elevator because I'm basically a half-time guy right now. And Urban Elevator was kind enough to say, yeah, we'll find a slot for you. Like today, we're replacing hoist cables, 550 feet per cable, and there's 10 of them. So my fingers are going to be worn out for the next few days. But I enjoy it. I keep my hands busy, it keeps my brain busy, and then hopping in the race car is almost a relief as opposed to maybe being more stressful if that's all that you do.
That makes perfect sense. All right, before we let you go, you did something super cool. Like, anytime you go to Chicago, the Greek, he's the guy. He's the guy from Chicago. And I guess Austin Coyle too. But you spent some time hanging out. Well, there's the storm that we were in, Jack. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. That had to be crazy for you guys. But you spent time with Chris Karamessinis. You went and found a track. Tell me a little bit about your exploits away from the track.
So the picture was taken in Chris's shop, and he's been in there since 1963. And you can imagine all the traveling fuel racers back in the day when they came into Chicago, their cars went in that shop. There's room for 4 or 5 of them. They do their maintenance there. There's a little parking lot next door. It is south side of Chicago. It is right next to the railroad tracks. It's a rough neighborhood, but people don't touch the Greek. He's just mythical. And there's just something about that man that's 1 in 300 million. And just to get to reminisce with him, go back through pictures, listen to the stories of that. And then when we left there, we drove out to Gary, Indiana. It's only about an hour there, south of Chicago, and it's the old US 30 racetrack. It hasn't been run on since 1984. My buddy Brett Kempner has chronicled over 4,000 drag strips that have existed throughout history, and has kind of hold my hand through some of these visits to abandoned tracks. And that's where a lot of history was made. A lot of legends were born there. Frank Hawley got his nitro license at that racetrack. That picture, I'm standing in the right lane at US 30, Gary, Indiana. And Karamessinis was the man there. All the big names showed up for the AHRA national events there. I just went back and watched some footage. There was Dick LaHaye, Gene Snow, Don Garlitz, the Greek, Mike Dunn driving the Hawaiian. I mean, if you think about it, Chicago was the mecca for match race funny cars, and Wednesday night at US 30 was probably as great a show as you could see in the entire country. And it's sad on these abandoned tracks and wonder what if you go to where Lyons sat or Orange County sat or Irwindale sat, all those have been developed. So at least they use the land. You look there at US 30, that entire footprint is unmolested. You could reopen a drag strip there today, but it hasn't existed for 41 years.
Wow, that is amazing. Now that's where the historic 201 happened, Mr. 201. Is that the?
Well, that was out in Illinois. That was April of '60 when Greek went the 204-mile-an-hour run. And that track is actually closer to St. Louis. I drove over to it last year when we got rained out Friday. And in the future, I'm going to do a better job of chronicling these. And stay tuned. I'd like to start doing maybe a little series on this stuff and give the viewers some insight, some tidbits, and some history there. Because if you think about it, there's thousands of tracks where people grew up at, where they've got amazing memories. And sometimes just seeing a picture of them now, contrasted with one back in the day, will make people think back on their childhoods or their young adult years. And if we can get some fond memories of some people and put a smile on their face, I think that'd be a neat series.
I love it. I agree. Well, Dale Jr. did the ghost tracks of NASCAR. I think the drag strips were probably more plentiful just because it's maybe a little easier to build a drag strip back then. I don't know. All right, Jack, listen, I know you're working. You're on the clock, right? Hopefully you don't have to put this in your timesheet. But before the show started, you showed me around a little bit. If we were to get disconnected, have a great day, but take us on a tour. Show us what you can see up there.
Yeah. So this is literally the heart of downtown LA. So I'm going up on the helipad right now. And if you guys were to look like that is the view of downtown LA.
Wow.
And if I keep panning, you're going to see Century City, Santa Monica, and then I'm pointing it directly at the Hollywood sign and Griffith Observatory right now. And if I pointed it that way, you'd see Dodger Stadium if I had a better camera. So, I'm back to my weekday job, and I am on the top of the world, Joe.
Which way is Pomona? Show us the track. Which way?
Pomona would be that way.
That's awesome.
And there'll be a lot of traffic getting there.
Yeah, I know. You're you're lucky that you love your day job. Like, that's a cool gig, man. It really is. Like, I always talk to you about elevators, but I think it's cool. Elevators are a big deal, and you get to play with them every day in addition to Nitro Funny Cars. Jack, thank you for making the time. Congratulations on the win. We'll talk more in the future. I'll see you in New England. Appreciate you taking some time out of your actual work day.
WFO Joe. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. There he goes. Fast Jack Beckman with us here on WFO Radio. And just like that, he's back to work, pulling cable, right? Cables, elevator cables. That is, I don't want to know how they work. Some of them have a lift. Those are the bad ones. How about the ones that go up in these skyscrapers that are going like 50 miles an hour and accelerate? And then you get in there and you jump and you feel like, what's going down. You feel like you're free falling for like a millisecond. Maybe I shouldn't be doing that. I should have asked Jack whether or not I should be doing that or not. But bottom line, Jack Beckman gets the win. Point standings. He is second behind Austin Prock, 51 points. Matt Hagan third, 83 back. Paul Lee, 92 back in fourth. Paul with a very narrow red light. 159, Ron Capps. 187, Chad Green. Red light, but the performance they found. What's going on there? Daniel Wilkerson, 220 back, 222 back. Cruz Pedregon, get well weekend for Cruz Pedregon. Like, okay. They run low 90s. They mix it up a little bit. Bob Tasca, J.R. Todd rounding out the top 10 on the outside looking in of the top 10, but they've showed up at every race, so they would be in the deal. You've got Alexis DeJoria and Dave Richards. Bobby Bodie sitting 13th, 13th, and Spencer Hyde 14th. Buddy Hall 15th. You've got all of those cars are pretty much in the mix for the countdown, which will be interesting enough to see. Now we're waiting. Gaige Herrera going to be joining us. While we wait for Gaige, I see Gaige just popped on. That is amazing. Let's watch the NHRA on Fox final round of Fast Jack Beckman's run. I wanted to play this for Jack, but I was also a little iffy on the internet. He's on top of the world there. So it was much more important to connect with Jack. Let's watch this NHRA on Fox. Final round, Brian Loans, Tony Pedregon, Amanda Busick rejoining us on the tour for the top end interview. Let's watch, and then we'll go on to Gaige Herrera.
We're about to find out now. It's the Nitro Funny Car Final. Prock was off the starting line first. What a race! It's Beckman! 393.5, 325 miles an hour. And he beat him on a hole shot. That is one of the craziest days. That is one of the craziest funny car wins I've seen in my life.
And Jack Beckman just said, what a drag race. And Jack, we just talked to you ahead of this final, and you were talking about Austin Prock and what he has done to this class. He just came over to you and said, how did you do that? When you looked at the time slip and you saw that reaction time, how?
I don't know. Maybe sitting next to him interviewing you. I don't know. I try to take the same mental approach up there in Austin. I mean it. He's been the class of the field. That young man has got such a future here, and I'm enjoying my time while I got it. Special trophy. Tom Hervis, the owner of Old World Industries. Greg Natelick, the president of Peak, is out here. Brian Bolander, who put this whole motorsports event together. He was the one, him and Robert Height and John Force are the ones that said, let's put him in our car. And Bob Boyle and the rest of the Peak crew. And here's my Peak squad. This is the greatest feeling that you could have in motorsports. At the end of the day, with your group of guys and gals hanging out with the trophy, and Peak did it today. Rick Hendrick texted me before the final. He said good luck. He also wished Austin good luck. We got to win for them, for Graham Rahal Performance, for Cornwall Towers. We're a big family. And John Force Motorsport. This is just the greatest feeling for JFR, for JB, and for the Peak squad. It feels awesome.
How about that? Fast Jack Beckman getting it done out there at Route 66 Raceway. And huge congratulations to that team. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk Pro Stock Motorcycle with Gaige Herrera. He and Matt Smith revving the throttle at each other, staring over Matt doing that deal. It's going to be great. We'll talk about that when we return right after this.
The number one source of friction in your engine is not what you think. Piston rings rubbing against the cylinder walls generate more friction than any other part of the engine. More friction and temperature means more wear and less horsepower. Fortunately, the team at Total Seal knows how to reduce friction and wear through innovative piston ring design. If it takes a piston, Total Seal can build a better ring.
Redline Oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
Redline Oil, formulated to win.
Formulated to win.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Formulated to win, proven by me.
Proven by me.
Proven by me.
Redline Oil, formulated to win, proven by me.
Proven by me on WFO Radio. You know, we got Water Wetter in Project Pontiac and so many great products for your car at home by Redline Oil. Really appreciate those guys coming on board. And if you look, you notice, especially in the fuel ranks, the folks at Redline really helping out a lot of racers. You look at Lex June and others, a lot of help coming from Redline. So support them for supporting so many great racers, including WFO Radio. All right, let's move on to Pro Stock Motorcycle, where the reigning and back-to-back world champion, the guy who wins all the races, right? He has, speaking of guys with day jobs, he is joining us now, Mr. Gaige Herrera. Taking a break from the day job. What's up, Gaige? How are you?
Not much. How's it going, Joe?
It's going great. So listen, we need you to speak up a little bit just because you're a little quiet in the car there. But you got Fast Jack is working as an elevator. You're like a pipe fitter, right? Like this is such a cool blue collar sport where our race winners in the pro categories also have day jobs. What a throwback.
Oh, for sure. You know, it's just goes to show anyone that works hard could do what we do. You know, if you work hard and work towards your goals and what you really love doing, you know, it's awesome to be racing on the weekends, and then at the end of the day we got to go back to reality. You know, not all of us can do this for a living, but at the end of the day it's still a lot of fun and we love it.
Yes. Well, if you want, I will negotiate with Vance Hines on your behalf, but I will have to take a cut. But I don't know. I think you could be working for a living with them if you wanted. I bet you got a pretty good gig over there also, and some time in that you don't want to give up.
Oh, for sure. You know, the opportunity has been there from Terry and such, but I have a pretty good career that I don't want to let go of at the moment, and I don't live too far from Vance Hines, about an hour and a half, 2 hour drive from me at the moment, but I'm still not ready to make that transition down to Brownsburg.
Let's see. There's all kinds of reasons, but I like what you have to say in that, that you guys are proof that you just got to go out there and nose to the grindstone, work real hard and try to make it happen. And sometimes it happens. It's not guaranteed to happen, but in drag racing, you could be, maybe you won't be a world champion like Gaige Herrera, but you could be a division champion in the Lucas Oil Series, Summit ET motorcycle. You could be a track champion. Like, that's what's cool about drag racing. There's a level where if you do well, you can conquer it.
Oh yeah, there's so many different levels in NHRA drag racing, or in general. You got divisionals, the nationals, the regionals. You got all the bracket deals, and then you can race at the end of the year at Vegas. I mean, there's so many different classes, different ranks you could do, and that's what makes drag racing so unique. I feel, there's a lot of bracket racing, heads up. I mean, just all of it. So, and luckily for me, I've been able to do a lot of it, and now I'm living the dream in the pro ranks, which is what I grew up watching in the stands. So, but yeah, there's a lot of different options.
The bracket racing thing, you've done that. Like, that's the thing. There's no style. You've done grudge racing for big money races. I think you told us you raced for 50 grand on one hit one time, if memory serves me right. Yep. You've bracket raced, which is really hard to do because of top end driving. And now you're showcasing your skills in pro stock motorcycle. It's kind of in domination, though. Matt Smith won out in ZMAX, and you come back here, and it's really setting up to be another Gaige versus Matt storyline. I don't have a problem with that. Like, I think about, like Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson, the Celtics and the Lakers. Maybe that's before your time, but sometimes two polled rivalries can be entertaining because it forces people to pick a side, either you or Matt. No disrespect to Richard, obviously, or to Angie, or to John Hall, or to Chase Van Zandt. Right at this moment, it's looking like you guys are the top of each team.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's looking like right now, but, that could change at any moment. We still got a lot of races left, but, yeah, it's been a lot of fun, between me and Matt. The last season it was about between us, and this season is looking the same, and our bikes are very close, ET-wise and all that. This last weekend I was able to capitalize on it a little more. He was struggling in the right lane, and I had lane choice in the final, so we put him over there because I know he was struggling over there. He even made a little joke after the semi. He's like, "You gonna give me the left lane? I haven't gotten down the right lane all race." So, but I put him in the right lane. But it's always fun on the starting line with him too, because he's very strong-headed and I'm very strong-headed, so it's hard to get in each other's head. I mean, we play little games on the starting line, a little bit, nothing too crazy. Whack the throttle back and forth. I lit the stage bulb and backed out and then went back in, just try to get a little edge or throw him off a little bit, but it didn't really throw him off much at all. He still had a 24 lights on my 005, but I cut a little close there as far as getting red light, but at the end of the day it was green and got the win. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a fun season. I feel like it's gonna be going back and forth all season between MSR, Vance Hines, and Richard. Richard was right there with me all weekend. He was we were within 100 basically every pass. Unfortunately he had a little bobble and it cost him second round, but that's part of racing, especially drag racing. You can have the fastest hot rod out there, but it comes down to the human to make it A to B at the time you need to get there and to get the win line. So it's going to be interesting. I'm excited for Bristol for sure.
I am excited as well. Let's take a second to watch that final round, see if we can see anything, because I noticed you flicker that bulb. I talked to Andrew. Andrew said it could have been the wind that did that, and you had to back it out. I didn't believe him when he told me, but whatever. But, Andrew's not like lying to me. Maybe he didn't know, but I like that. I think we need to amplify that. Let's see how Brian and Tony did NHRA on Fox covering that final round, because I think it's I found it to be very exciting. Let's watch. Let's see how it goes.
Gaige is dipping a wheel and he dipped it back out again. Smith will stage second.
Reaction time, 005 for Gaige Herrera past the 8th mile. Does Smith have anything to answer with? No, he does not. 6,777, 198.9 miles an hour. And once again, high, wide, and handsome. There's Gaige Herrera.
And we'll go ahead and give Gaige his assets from winning here in Chicago. The winner's hat, the winner's medal. We'll get the milestone Wally into the hands. You'll see that it's silver today for the 30th race here in Chicago. And Gaige, man, just the tension between you and Matt. You just told me that that was purposeful up at the starting line. Why?
It's fun. Me and Matt both are very tough competitors, and we're good on the tree. I mean, his dad's Tricky Ricky, and Matt's just like him. And I'm just going to show we're trying to make class fun. Me and him both are really tough on the tree, and we're good with mind games, I should say. Whether or not I mess with them or not, or vice versa. But I mean, I had a 005 to his 24, so I didn't throw him off too bad. But this Revzilla, Motul, Suzuki, Vance Hines, it came out on top, and I can't thank all Andrew and all the guys back at the shop enough. My crew guy Jay, Ray, all of them. But that ain't too bad for a rental bike. So whoever rents that thing, they got a fast hot rod. Thank you.
It's the 25th anniversary. Show them.
And Matt comes over. What did Matt say to you? It looked like you guys talked, and there's that mutual respect. Matt's, he's won a bunch of races, he's lost a bunch of races. What did he say in that moment?
He just congratulated me and said it's always fun racing you. So, which it is, vice versa. It's always fun racing him as well, because you never know what we're gonna do on the line or how either one of us is gonna run. I mean, like in Gainesville, we both ran the same ET. I just got him on the tree a little bit, so it's always fun and exciting racing him.
I love it. It's going in the right direction. Like you said it, you kind of have a calm tone about you. I talked to you in the media center. Like I want to hear you say like something like you can't beat me, like that. Maybe that's not going to come out of you, but you do say some stuff with a barb. We're trying to have a little fun out here. We're doing stuff. You're letting people know that you're not like totally corporate. Like you're willing to mix it up and have a little fun with Matt as this season goes because of that mutual respect.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like there's a fine line there between being respectful and disrespectful. You could throw little jabs here and there. It's just like, we brought out the rental bike this weekend for kind of a reason. Everyone, kind of like Tony Stewart said in his interview about all the social media keyboard warriors. They all say the rental bike and Richard's bike isn't the same as my bike. So we brought it out this weekend to show, that all of our bikes are equal, even Kelly's included. It's there's just so much little things on these bikes that could change the ET a lot, even if it's the same motorcycle. So we brought that bike out to prove show that whoever wants to come rent the bike, you could ride a winning bike, and it's there. It's one of those things. Like I said, it's little jabs here and there to people, but it's not. It's just no one personally. It's just throwing it out there. Basically, keyboard warriors, I always say my bike's superior, and there's not another one like it. And just goes to show it. All the guys at Vance Hines could build mini bikes like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I want to talk about Stewart now that you mentioned it up. We tweeted that out right before the show. It's on TikTok, guys. You got to see it. It's just one of multiple great comments that he made in the media center. He was clearly fired up. But that is kind of a double-edged sword in that, all right, now, you have proven that this bike can go to the winner's circle. And I'm pretty confident if you got Richard's bike, it'd go to the winner's circle. And if you got on another bike, if you got on Chase's bike, like that thing might go to the winner's circle too. You are a superior rider to most people who are trying to do this. You just are. You've won 2 championships. The numbers bear it out. It's like someone saying, like a Michael Jordan or Muhammad Ali. There's some people who are just superior at what they do. This person who rents the bike, they are not going to do what you do. I will tell them, like, you could have a fun experience. You could go out there and turn on some wind lights. Maybe you'll win a race. That's up to you. But you're not going to do what Gaige does, because Gaige is an animal. He is not a normal human being when it comes to this. And everybody is like figuring that out, I think. But there is a double-edged sword, like those keyboard warriors that Tony talked about. But they are unrelenting. That's the problem. They'll never stop, no matter what you do, no matter what you prove. You win in a wagon. They'll be like, well, that wagon had special bearings.
Yeah, but I mean, you say double-edged sword, which I agree. But the biggest thing in drag racing is it for sure takes a team. I couldn't do it without Andrew and all the guys behind me, especially, my crew guy Jay and the guys at the shop, that build the motors or machine the parts. I mean, that's one thing about drag racing. It takes a good group of guys to do it. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily just me. I just go out there and do the best I can to showcase their hard work, and I get the fame and the glory and all that. I get to raise the trophy up and, thank them on TV, which, I love doing because at the end of the day, I feel like they work at it much harder than me, and, that's the thing. I mean, it's not like I can get on any bike and win. I mean, maybe I could, after time, working on the bike. I mean, me, Andrew, all of them, we all work together a lot to make those bikes as fast and as good as they are. So, it's definitely a team effort that has made all this possible the last two seasons and now going into this season for sure. But I mean, I feel like that's what makes drag racing so unique, or any kind of motorsports, is it's not a one-person team. It takes a good group of guys.
Well, yeah, Tony Stewart, who is lighting up the social media right now. Jim Park's out there commenting on your 005 light, right? 005 in the final round. A little close, could have been red, but it wasn't. And you win the race, and it's going to be a wild points battle all year long, of course, the countdown. But when did you see Stewart's comments? Did you see it on social, or were you in the media center? I forget.
No, I seen it on social. I think I seen it this morning, actually. So I was in the media center first. I think he was last, I believe. So I didn't get to see it firsthand. I saw.
So what is your emotion as you're seeing that? I've been having a little bit of a, whatever the opposite of a love affair is with the social media lately. I feel like this great thing, and I certainly use it for my show and to promote things that I do, but it's kind of devolving into just trash. It's like, really, I don't know. I feel like the negative is kind of outweighing the positive at the moment right now. And to see Tony in this great moment, someone asked him a question and he just kind of went down this path to where he ended up. And it's on NHRA's TikTok. It's on NHRA's YouTube Shorts. You can watch it. You'll see it. But he lights up these people, man. And I was like, yeah, you go, because I watched it live. What did you think when you saw that? Because I'm sure it mirrors what you think too. But you're not going to do that. Like, you're not going to do what he did. He can do it. He's in the unique position to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, the people that always have the negative are the people that, don't do it themselves or don't do anything really themselves, haven't accomplished much. I mean, it's like yesterday, my teammate Richard Gatson made a post about the bauble he made, and then people get on there and bash him and comparing him to other people, and saying you had the bike to win and you messed up and blah blah. I mean, it's human error. It's just social media makes it so easy for people to get on there and basically feel bigger than they are, bully people around, and it gets under some people's skin. But for like me, when people talk trash to me, like on social media and stuff like that, it drives me to be better. It drives Richard to be better, and as you heard Tony as well, I feel like it almost drives everyone to be better and to prove them wrong. I forget I think it was last season. I did a little jab on TV back at the Keyboard Warriors about it. I think it was about my lights. I wasn't really pushing it back then as much because my bike was quite a bit faster than everyone else. So, I basically went out there and tightened up my my average to prove a point to the Keyboard Warriors. So they definitely drive us as riders, drivers to do better. And, but like you said, it seems like a lot more negative lately, more than anything, but it drives us as racers for sure.
Well, I think that, let's not give them too much credit, okay? Because then they'll be like, they'll ask you for a check. Like, send me a cut, Gaige. You're lucky that we let you have that 005. But anyone that has done anything at this competitive level, even running a sportsman bracket car at their local track, knows that it's real easy to throw rocks at other people's accomplishments. But when you're in the moment, semifinals, Saturday night, there's a van in the other lane, and this guy's 005 and you're 50 and you lose, it's like, oh, I wanted to be better, but I just wasn't. Anybody who's actually done it is usually way less critical than the people who haven't. That's just the way it is. You hear it on sports talk radio all the time. Like, that guy's a pro, he's making $15 million. Why didn't he make the free throw? Well, he wanted to. He practiced a lot. Sometimes it's part of it. You don't make the shot. And, but to have a voice, right? To have a voice, like not everybody, I believe this, not every single person should be able to manipulate the world with their opinion, you know? And it's funny that it's out there, but don't let it get under your skin. Like everybody is saying right now, the best thing you do is ignore it. Jim Parks, who is he races, he says, overrun with whiny bitches. Thanks, Jim, for like cutting it to the bone right there. Any final thoughts, Gaige, before we let you go?
Not too much. You know, I want to thank all my guys at the shop, of course, for their hard work. I'm definitely looking forward to Bristol. It's a very beautiful facility. I love. The first time I went there was in 23 with Vance Hines, and that's one of my all-time favorite, getting to race in the valley there. So, but it's gonna be. I'm excited for the season. It's gonna be tougher and tougher. I mean, this is only our third race, and you know, it's. You're gonna see a lot of. I feel like you're gonna see a lot of different race winners this year. And you're going to see more, I want to say more drama, but I feel like it's going to get pretty intense. And I'm really looking forward to it. But all this, you know, me and Richard and all the guys at Vance Hines, we're going to be ready for it and give up the best fight we can.
I'm excited as well. Listen, this is what it is. This is what it is. We're not going to have you drag a piano down the track to make it easier for someone else to win. And if you're 0-0 in finals, you're going to be tough to beat. Gaige, thanks for coming on the show. Back-to-back champion, going out there undefeated at Route 66 is to be there, I think. 3 consecutive wins. That's a tremendous accomplishment. And now back to work, man. Go back to work.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
There he goes. Gaige Herrera with us here on WFO Radio. Yeah, Stewart went nuts on the social. He was in the media center. We'll tell the story a little bit with our next guest, Jason Galvin, who called the race and got some great insights. We're going to talk a little bit about Top Fuel. We're going to talk about Pro Stock Motorcycle. We're going to cover the bases. We've heard from Jack Beckman and Gaige Herrera. Kid Chaos, Kyle Koretsky, going to be joining us a little bit later on in the show. So I can tell you, we're going to hype up the night of chaos. I don't fully expect you to be able to see the details on this flyer other than $40 per carload, guys. We got jet cars. We've got the Lucas Oil Series, top alcohol dragster, top alcohol funny car. Of course, they're going to have Super Street there, guys. The 1090 cars are going to be there. That's right. The best category of Lucas Oil Series racing because the cars are so heavy. They're all going to be there. Just $40 a carload on Saturday. Obviously, Friday and Sunday, that's a different deal. But $40 a carload, it's going to be great. You don't want to miss it. All right, Jason Galvin going to be joining us after this.
Foggit is a high-performance fogging oil designed especially for internal combustion engines. Foggit can be used by everyone. If you have a lawnmower, a jet ski, a motorcycle, a tractor, a high-performance car, a classic car, racing vehicles, if it has a cylinder wall, it needs Foggit.
And Foggit is available at summit-racingequipment.com. Go to summit-racing.com, get yourself a can. Like everybody's got to have a can of Foggit. Joining us now, he called the action out there at Route 66 Raceway. We had a great time. He appears to be on the move, but we might as well see the inside of his home. What's going on there, Jason Galvin? What, little Kobe decides he's uncomfortable in the moment?
Well, he was hungry, Joe. What do you want to do about it?
He's hungry. Listen, it's good to be hungry, though. You got to train them. You can't give these kids everything they want, Jason. You got to train them to be hungry so that they work.
You got to teach my 6-year-old.
I don't believe that.
Teach my 6-year-old he can't have everything he wants.
What's up, Jason Galvin?
What's up, Joe? How are you?
I'm good. Just talk with Gaige. Just talk with Fast Jack. Now expecting a nice little event debrief from you. We had some wild experiences out there at Route 66 Raceway. Like on Friday, this thing rolled in on us and pretty shocker. I was on the mic for Friday. It was nightmare qualifying. Galvin comes in on Saturday. I guess, the track prep went up and we had an unbelievable day of qualifying. Multiple track records, speed records, ET records, and it carried into Sunday. What stands out for you in this race?
I thought you were going to give me credit for the race getting better come Saturday.
Maybe. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, just coincidence or conspiracy? I don't know.
Yeah, I'll go conspiracy for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think what stood out to me was the quality of racing on Sunday, right? I mean, that's that was as good of a Sunday as we've had in a while. And there were some, anomalies, I think, with the crew chiefs getting a little carried away in nitro in round 2. And if I do my memory correctly here, I think it was round 2 of Top Fuel and maybe the semi as a funny car. Round 2 funny car and the semi as a Top Fuel got a little wonky. But I mean, the racing was just so good. I mean, the final round of funny cars is as good of a 2-wide final round we've had in funny car, I don't know, since I've been around the sport. I mean, it's, right there with those matchups that you always remember. And then you think about the moment in the final with Tony and leaving with Justin Ashley's 18 reaction time in round 1. I mean, Freiberger almost knocked me over when he saw the 18 pop up there. So it was great. I mean, from the first pair down the track on Sunday in Top Fuel, we knew it was going to be a great day. And so, for as weird as the weekend started, that's a memorable 2-wide race for sure.
Jim Parks says Galvin is the reason he tuned into the live show today. He's, at least you can tell him that. So it's like, I don't know. He stays on my positive side. Mighty Mac out there saying that he's still pulling dust out of his ears. Yeah, I got a video. I think I got a video on this that, it might just be a time lapse. Let's watch it together, though. It was pretty crazy. Let's see what we got here. What happens? Look at this as it rolls in right minutes after qualifying on Friday. This thing hadn't happened since the 1930s. It's literally.
You can see, look at the fans coming out of the stand still. That gives you an idea of how close we cut it. I had a lot of people, Joe, who were like, man, why don't we run a night session in Chicago? And I don't disagree. Personal opinions here. I think you and I would have both liked to have seen a night session Friday night. Not that we could have predicted this months ahead of time when the schedule was built, but boy, did we get lucky with that one, because look, this is 6:30, Joe? 6 p.m., 6:30, somewhere around there?
Right.
And you can't see the finish line by the end of this video.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think Stewart and Clay were on track. I forget exactly. Clay mentioned that they were caught in it, and just so bizarre. And so congratulations to the NHRA weather predictors for seeing this and scheduling the race so that this did not. They never get credit, Jason. It's always the negative, right? Let's give them some credit for the positive for seeing this chaos that would ultimately come in. Let's talk Tony Stewart.
That's a great video, Joe. It showed just how windy it was. Like, you saw the bicycle fence right in front of the tower there, and the Camping World, kind of wrap that goes around it. I mean, look at the Camping World and the Lucas wraps once they get swung out there, and you're like halfway through this video. It really gives you a sense. You're like, this is part of why Pro Stock Motorcycle only ran one session. Look at how much those are flying. And think that that's in the bowl, right? Like, that's secluded from the wind in theory, because you've got these huge grandstands. So think of how bad that looks there, and then go to 800 feet where the grandstands end and be on a motorcycle. People who, there was a social media deal Andrew Smith and I were talking about where somebody was calling them out for, the riders for being, let's say, lacking bravery.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Come on, get out of here.
Ridiculous.
You get on 2 wheels and ride through that.
Exactly. But again, the keyboard warriors, right? Like, you're only going to get the worst of humanity on the social. It's been a little bit of a sub thread on our show today because Tony Stewart's screed from the media center is going viral on TikTok and NHRA's YouTube. I've shared it on my X account, and this guy, he lights into them in a way that made me feel great. I don't have people coming at me, fortunately. But like, I see it for other people like that, like anyone that would challenge the courageousness of pro stock motorcycle racers to race in a stark wind that we talked about right there. Like, why would you do that? Like, why would you do that? What would make you do that? Like, I'm going to show this person subtext. Then I'm obviously very jealous of and wish I could be in their position, but I'm not, for a reason that maybe it's my fault or something happened to me. I don't know. But like, why would you do that? And then the rest of the world sees it, and smoke just lit them up. Hopefully everyone, I'm not going to play it because I don't want the views. I want everybody to get the views. It already had like 9,000 retweets or something when I saw it.
And the funny thing to me, like, we're going to criticize Pro Stock Motorcycle. I don't remember anybody walking up to Bob Malloy or Larry McBride and telling them that they lacked the courage to race their motorcycles. And like, did anybody notice that Top Fuel Motorcycle only ran to the 8th mile this weekend? Why did they only run to the 8th mile? Because when they got there on Thursday and parked their rigs, they all looked at the wind and said, I ain't riding this thing past the grandstands. No way. Not a chance. So they ran to the 8th mile. You're going to go tell Larry McBride he doesn't have, the bravery needed to ride his motorcycle? Like, no, that's called being intelligent. Okay. Yeah. So it's survival, folks.
Yeah. All right, let's get into Top Fuel. We talked a little funny car. We will get your take on that, of course, especially that big final round. But Doug Coletta was the number one qualifier. Doug stormed through Lex June and Josh Hart to get to the semis, where he ran into Justin Ashley, smoked the tires. Justin's 40 on the tree. Justin talking about changing his pedal, puts an 18 reaction time up and gets everybody freaked out, then kind of regressed to back to his, 40, goes to the final round. Who's waiting for him? Tony Stewart. Tony goes through Terry Totten. Tony goes through Sean Reed. Tony goes through Steve Torrance to get to the final round against Justin Ashley, make his 4th consecutive final round. Let's pause right there in that. Wow. For any team to make 4 consecutive final rounds. He got the 4-wide win. Neil Strasbaugh, Mike Domagala, that team, they've had air deflectors on the whole time. They are grooving. They have found a groove consistently going down the racetrack, and Smoke, the Hall of Famer, he knows he can do something with that. It's made him more confident. He told us how long did he talk to us after the media center? Like 40 minutes.
35 minutes. This is the longest post-race media session I've ever seen.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But they got it going on.
The thing that he said that I loved, Joe, and I know you probably latched onto this too. And it's something that Paul Lee has said earlier this year, right? Because Paul Lee is a driver, not a comparison as far as like struggled. I don't think Tony's ever really struggled in the Top Fuel car, at least not publicly. But Paul Lee is a driver who at times had been criticized for his driving acumen and has turned into a very good race car driver in the last, call it 12 months, which coincides with, coincidentally, Paul Lee having arguably the 3rd best funny car in the world over the last 12 months, right? I mean, certainly the JFR cars are just in another level, but I mean, it's like Paul Lee and Hagan and a little bit of Caps, as far as that next car right now. Tony Stewart has a real contending race car for the first time in his Top Fuel career. And what has Tony Stewart developed into? One of the most dangerous drivers in the sport. And here's somebody who knows how to rise to the moment, and he did it in the final. He left within 6 thousandths of Justin Ashley. The thing that I think gets overlooked a little bit is, Tony had to pedal the car in round 2. That pedal job was world class, and he does not have a lot of experience pedaling the race car. If you go back and watch that pedal job, and you just watch the butterflies, which this weekend with the Renai scheme on that car were really easy to see. And I mean, the way that, the throttle blades, they close and then they open like this much. They close again. They open this much, a little bit more. And as the car starts to kind of sit back down and get back into the clutch, they just open up slowly like this. And they never get back to fully open, which is like the number one mistake new Top Fuel drivers get themselves into in pedaling a car, right? Is they just like, the car settles down and slam back into it. I mean, that might have worked in like 1988. It doesn't work anymore. And the good drivers know and have that throttle control. And it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that Tony Stewart has figured out throttle control, right? I mean, there's a guy who's made a living, kicking everybody's butt on a dirt track. It's the king of throttle control. But, I mean, he needs credit. It wasn't just the final round reaction. And it's not – Tony did a lot of – and it's what a good leader does, right? I think sometimes it's easy to forget. Tony Stewart's also he owns the business. He's a businessman. He's a Top Fuel driver, but he's also a businessman. What's a good businessman do? He supports and brings up the people around him. Neil Strasbaugh, Mike Domagala get all the credit in the world for turning that car around. The car is running really well, but every time they've needed Tony to bail them out in the last 4 events, Tony's also bailed them out. That's what makes a championship team. That's what makes a deadly team, right? Last year, Joe, like Austin Prock, yes, did he dominate funny car? He did. But also, every time it felt like that Jimmy and Thomas and Nate missed a little bit, Austin was there to bail them out, right? Every time that Steve Torrance, that his car missed a little bit in that, fable that you love to talk about, undefeated countdown, they didn't make 70 consecutive clean runs down the track, but when they needed Steve to bail them out, Steve was also perfect. And that's how you end up with a championship winning car. And right now, Tony Stewart is right there with Sean Langdon, best Top Fuel car in the world. No question.
Yeah. It's shaping up. It's going to be very exciting. And, Justin had all the motivation in the world to go out there. He did his job. He went Justin on him. It just wasn't enough. And so now the story is shaping up. I also think the timing is great for NHRA. If you think about Tony winning Vegas, going into Charlotte, that was a huge story because he's kind of coming home to NASCAR country where all his friends can come out and see. We've heard that comment about Dale Jr. like looking at drag racing now because like, oh, he drove Cletus's truck. He's like, wow, that was really fun. Like I really liked it. All of a sudden you hear Tony talking about like how he's having to relearn and process and the challenge of what he needs to do, all of that. Then he comes out to Chicago and he wins right before he is going to be the color commentator for the Indy 500. And he's like walking in there, Mighty Mac, who's out there, asked like, are you going to bring the trophy? Tony said, I don't need to bring the trophy because the trophy is with him. It's like floating over his head. He's going to walk into that broadcast booth. They're going to be like, wow, former IndyCar driver, NASCAR Hall of Famer who just won this week in the NHRA and went 330 miles an hour. Like that is so great for drag racing. I know they're going to talk to him about it. Obviously it's going to get referenced.
Well, and so not just this win, right? Not just the win 2 weeks ago, but and he's the points leader. So you can't ignore it if you're IndyCar.
And ignore it.
IndyCar can whatever, and they can have whatever directives they want. But I mean, Fox is our broadcast partner. You would like to think at some point here, it's beneficial for Fox to talk about it, right? I mean, the Indy 500 is going to get the ratings they're going to get at this point, no matter what. Nothing that happens today or tomorrow is going to change the Indy 500 ratings. They've advertised it. It is what it is. The race is sold out. It's my favorite. I've made, I've never hid this. It's my favorite sporting event in the world. I love the Indy 500. So I can't wait for Sunday to sit there and watch. I think it's the greatest spectacle on earth.
The greatest spectacle in racing. You should quote that. The greatest spectacle in racing.
I should see if there's a trademark I can get on that.
You should really test that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, but it is a good one. I wish I would have thought of it 90 years ago. But I mean, you can't not talk about it, and it's good for Fox too. It's going to help raise the ratings. I made the point talking to some friends yesterday. Like, how much does this help? Epping. I mean, how many new eyeballs are we going to get on Epping? Hopefully, out of this, even if they only spend 45 seconds talking about it. I mean, at some point, it's going to come up. Here's Tony Stewart, NASCAR Hall of Famer, IndyCar champion, Indy 500 pole sitter. Oh, by the way, currently national points leader, top fuel dragster, Mission Foods Drag Racing Series. And hey, if you want to watch Tony continue his hunt for the championship, tune in Sunday night, NHRA on Fox, and watch their race from Epping next week. It times out perfectly.
Going to be very interesting. Of course, Robert Schwartzman, the rookie on the pole for the greatest spectacle in racing, we'll all be watching. Of course, I will be at Maple Grove. Hopefully Kid Chaos has got it all figured out where we can monitor all the great racing that is going to go on. So Top Fuel, Stewart's the points leader, Sean Langdon second, Antron Brown third. Just a great weekend of racing in Top Fuel. Torrance continues to be, not that he was ever fell off enough to be resurgent, but it looks like that team is moving in the right direction. We just spoke with Fast Jack. He and Austin in the final round, epic final round. Is there anything else you want to touch on in Funny Car or Top Fuel that we didn't get to already?
Go check the Play NHRA odds today. If you're a Play NHRA fan and you have access to an account and you're in a state where you can do it, all I'll say is that I got an update on World Championship odds last night. And if you're really smart, you understand how odds work and how to build a portfolio, as they call it. Let's just say that there's an opportunity in Funny Car literally today to guarantee yourself a significant return if you understand how to do it. It's all sorts of things that go into it, right? And you always take.
Wait. Okay, hold on. You're giving the wonderful piece of advice, and I appreciate it. You and I are obviously exempt from gambling on NHRA as hard card holders, but we are not exempt from explaining how to build a program or whatever you said. Let's create an analogy, not exact but similar, with say the NFL.
Sure, perfect example. So
Play NHRA, guys. Here we
Play NHRA NFL version, right? Same thing in the NFL as the NHRA. Today, you can place a wager on any full-time NFL team. So in our case, any full-time Nitro team to win the World Championship. Okay, but let's be realistic. Like right now, you take 32 NFL teams, and we can just cross off like a solid 15 of them. And you can't ever obviously guarantee beyond a shadow of a doubt, but you can feel very confident that like the Tennessee Titans and the Cleveland Browns are not winning the Super Bowl this year, right? And there are plenty of racers in Funny Car that are full-time that as much as we love them and we want them to compete for the championship, that if you're smart, you can figure out, okay, realistically, they're not winning the championship. But the latest odds that we saw come out, it's Austin and Jack, and the next favorite is Paul Lee. He's like 49-1. And then Hagen and Caps and J.R. Todd and Tasca are all like 56-1 when they posted last night. Now, I don't know where that's at right now, and they all move and you can check or whatnot. But if you just do the process of elimination on the cars that you don't believe, you as a race fan, you can figure that out on your own, that you don't believe have an opportunity to win, and you think you can narrow it down to 5 or 6 cars, and you can build a portfolio of smaller bets that pay out really large on that. And then as you get closer to the end of the year, you start watching what Austin and Jack, who have, really strong odds. Austin is an odds-on favorite to win Funny Car on May 20th, which should tell you how strong everybody believes that team is, and rightfully so after the season they had last year. And they're coming off of 2 wins and 3 consecutive finals. Totally understand it, right? But there is an opportunity to build a profile off of that. It's the same thing that really successful NFL bettors do. They come in, what are they looking for right now? They're not looking for the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. They're looking for teams that, could be ascending. Minnesota, if you think their quarterback's going to be good. San Francisco, if you think they're going to bounce back, right? Houston, the Chargers, if you think year 2 with Jim Harbaugh and they've built some talent around them. And you build a portfolio at this time of the year of longer odds, but that have, you can make a real argument for I see a path to them winning. You can do the same thing right now in Funny Cars. The one class that I feel like the odds makers have not caught up to for whatever reason. Because, Joe, how long have you been around this sport? We all know how it goes, right?
Yes.
And it's a nitro car. It's the one great, what's the word I'm looking for here? Equalizer is nitromethane, right? Stuff happens in nitro cars. Mechanical things happen. Things go wrong. The MSD grid fails, like Jack talked about. It runs the clutch, like happened to Wilkers. I'm like, there's a million things that can happen on a nitro car that can ruin your day. I mean, think about Austin and Dallas last year, right? If Jack Beckman we forget about this. If Jack Beckman didn't have vertigo and Austin's car, dies on the burnout and Jack Beckman wins Dallas, those two are racing for a world championship at Pomona, right? So all those little things that can happen. And if you're really smart about it, there's an opportunity to potentially set yourself up very well.
All right, so here are the odds. I opened the email, right? And I'm like, again, you're not guaranteed to win, guys. And if you have a gambling problem, you should call 1-800-GAMBLER. But like, here are the futures for Funny Car. Austin is minus 729. Jack is 394 plus 394. And then everybody else plus 4,617. Paul Lee is the third option. Plus 5,680. Chad Green, Matt Hagen plus 5,680. Ron Capps plus 5,680. Cruz Pedregon plus 5,680. Blake Alexander 5,680. He's not even running all the races. Buddy Hall, Daniel Wilkerson plus 5,680. They all got it right now. Dave Richards, J.R. Todd, by the way, J.R. Todd plus 7,199. What's going on there? Oh my gosh.
Right. Like,
yikes.
Blake Alexander has better odds to win the world championship than J.R. Todd. J.R. Todd's running for a world championship. Blake Alexander is not. Right.
And those odds are going to change, is what Jason is telling you, is those odds are going to change just because they are right at this moment. Doesn't mean they will be in a couple of weeks. But if
they
you
might not even be there this moment. I don't have DraftKings and FanDuel up. I'm in California, so I couldn't see them if I wanted to anyway.
They might have changed, is the point.
They might have changed already, but they've probably not changed significantly. Well, all I'm saying is if you're smart and you do some homework, Funny Car, there's a real opportunity to, again, what they call build a portfolio. Do a little research on your own. I'm not telling you that I'm the world's greatest expert on sports gambling. Do a little research, learn what building a portfolio is, and then figure out how you can build a portfolio of long shots with smaller bets that make, have large potential payouts if they cash. And then later in the year, when it narrows down, because, by the time we get to Dallas, Joe, that's when we get to Dallas, there's going to be 6 cars, right? You're going to have half the field's going to be mathematically eliminated by the time we roll into Dallas.
Yep.
Or close
Who's
to
it going to be? Right.
By the time we leave Dallas, we're going to be down to 4 or 5 cars realistically that can win a world championship. And if you're holding if we're down to 6 cars and you've got 4 tickets that are, plus 5,600 or plus 7,100 like JR, Austin and Jack, no matter how good their season are never going to be some astronomical favorite with 4 races or 3 races to go. There's an opportunity to build the portfolio. And, again, you can never fully guarantee it. I can't say 100% guarantee it, but you put yourself in a very positive position potentially if you play this right.
Very good. I
Top
appreciate
Fuel, meanwhile, is just a train wreck. I mean, Top Fuel is wide open, and rightfully so.
Top Fuel is wide open and rightfully so. All right, let's Gaige Herrera, you just heard from Gaige. Gaige, obviously, he and Matt, let's just talk about that final round a little bit on the rental bike. How much fun is watching those two go at each other?
It's like, was it you? I think, what did you say before the final, Joe? You called it one of the greatest rivalries in motorsports right now.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I mean, Gaige got on the stage after the race. If you watch the .tv streamer, you were there and you get to hang around for it, and it's what makes this, so good. Well, we do live at bleep talking, and he said the word, and I love it. Like, I want that out of these guys, right? I said it on Sunday. I think Matt Smith and Gaige Herrera have more respect for each other as riders than maybe any 2 racers in NHRA have for each other. And I also think that if you, got a couple cocktails in each of them, put them in a dark room in the CIA office and said, nobody will ever hear this again, they both tell you that they cannot stand the other one. And all they want to do is kick the other one's what. Best thing that can happen in the pro stock motorcycle.
Yeah, little bipolar battle. All right, the rest of the race winners. I see Kid Chaos signing up down there. Mason Wright in Congruity HR Pro Mod from the #1 qualifying position. That was a wild one. Great comeback for Mason Wright.
After crashing in Chicago 2 years ago, I mean, you and I heard the stories, right? Mason even talked about it after, had to talk himself back into the car. Is this right for me? Is quarter-mile drag racing right in a pro mod right for me? Mason Wright had to have that internal conversation after Chicago 2 years ago. And he missed a couple races, as you'll recall. And then he talked his way back into the car, talked himself back into getting into the car. It was never, is the ride available? It was, can Mason talk himself back into getting into the car? And here we are, 2 years later. He's now won 2 events, wins some first number one of his career. He DNQ'd earlier this year. He's still up there 5th and 6th in points after this weekend. And Pro Mod looks as unpredictable as it was last year, Joe.
Awesome. Jordan Lazick, DNQ, right? He's the reigning champ, and
Mike Castellana, DNQ, back-to-back world champions, out. There were 3 cars that went home, and 2 of them were the last 2 world champions. Think about that.
That is awesome.
We had 19 cars in Funny Car this weekend. What if Austin Prock and Matt Hagan were the 2 that went home? That's what happened in Pro Mod.
Nice. Super Stock, the Donna Morris story. She was so happy in the winner's circle. That is great stuff.
I'm glad you brought that up. I got so many texts about it. What a moment, right? I mean, you and I live for those moments. We're Lucas Oil racers at heart. We live for those moments. Donna Morris, her and TC, they've been married for 5 decades, right? TC's had a ton of success. Donna's never won an NHRA race of any sort. They take a car that was crashed 24 months ago. TC buys it, he rebuilds it, puts his wife in it. She comes out to Chicago, and she drove her behind off all weekend. Like, Donna Morris did not back into that win at all. She was like 24 or 27 in the final round on the tree. She made the right decision at the finish line, saw Troy come driving by. She dumped real late. You saw Troy drop the nose. By then it was too late. Troy takes a bunch at the finish line. Donna wins. Like, she earned that race. That's one of the great stories of the year so far.
Absolutely. Marion Stevenson in Stock Eliminator got it done. He was on the track walk with us, and he's like, I love this sport so much, but like coming out to the track walk, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and he almost doubled up. I think he got to the semis and Stock Eliminators, as I recall.
Yep.
So Marion had a really good weekend. And he's always tough in that part of the country. Like Joey Schiff, credit to Joey Schiff.
Yes.
Super gas racer, division champion, super gas. But to switch to a foot brake car and do what Joey did in Chicago is very impressive.
Jeff Cheney. Okay, so I hear Kobe in the background. I want to let you go because you got to go take care of that guy. Jeff Cheney, Dave Dahlem, Greg Rice getting the job done in the final, and then we're letting you go. I'm forcing you to go. Go.
Okay, I appreciate that. Dave Dahlem, dude. Somebody beat Nathan Prose. Can you believe it?
Yes.
Like, the miracle of all miracles. Nathan Prose is human. 20 consecutive rounds in super gas. Nathan Prose had won to that point. I got texts from like 15 super gas racers from around the country that said, and the crowd goes wild when Dave Dahlem won the race. Like, it was the most popular win of the year so far from racers was Dave Dahlem beat Nathan. Nathan Prose can lose. And the worst by poor Nathan, Nathan's like great on the tree, gets to the finish line and loses a double breakout by like this much, I mean, so like, it's not like Nathan made a bad run. That's just, that's part of .90 racing. Sometimes you make the right decision all the way down the track, and it's the wrong decision. But boy, he's in a really good place right now. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I know.
Like
Looking
Nathan
good
goes
for the world.
really well. Super Comp was great. Jeff Cheney, that's a great win there. I was really surprised. I don't know about you. I had spent a lot of time in D3. Kimber Fusine's a 2-time division champion. I was shocked that was her first final round of the national event. Like, that really surprised me. Great race. Like, anytime you get a first-time winner, right? First-time winners are awesome. We got 2 of them this weekend.
Great stuff. All right, go take care. Kobe.
Right,
appreciate
Kobe.
you, Jason Galvin. Good job. Thanks,
Joe.
All right, there he goes, Jason Galvin. And I could flood him with all the Jason Galvin love, I love Jason. I'm a big fan of Jason Galvin and all that stuff, and that's why he's on the show, guys. That's why Jason Galvin is on the show. He puts a lot into it and a lot of details and a very interesting perspective on the whole thing. Kid Chaos, enable your camera, bud. Enable your camera. I'm not bringing Kid Chaos on without the camera. Let's bring him on this weekend. There he is. I will be at the House of Chaos with this guy. What's up, Kid Chaos? How are you?
Nothing much, Joe. How you doing?
What are you doing? Breaking rocks?
I'm in digging a trench right now. I don't know how to turn the camera around, but
no, it's fine. It's fine. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Where's this trench you're digging? Where is this? It's on the property?
Digging a trench on the property here for some water lines. So
all right.
That's what we're up to today.
All right. So let's talk $40 a carload this Saturday night. Jet cars, jet truck. You're bringing me in. I'm excited. What do we need to know?
Yeah, I mean, it's you kind of need to know it's $40. Jam them in the car. It's a family event. We're here for, the kids love the jet cars. We have a great fireworks. We have 850 Index, which is some great index racing. And it's a family event. You get to see alcohol dragsters and some really fast hot rods and some cool stockers too. You got a lot of Copos and old school Camaros. So it's nice to see the older generation bring their grandkids out and stuff like that. So it's really a family affair.
The Lucas Oil Series, great racing, some excellent cars. Going to have top alcohol dragster, top alcohol funny car. Anthony Troyer going to be there with the McPhillips car. It's going to be awesome. But where did the $40 a carload thing come from? I know that a lot of people say, oh, we got to do it like the old school guys do. We got to get grassroots on the deal. I know you're shooting for to get some high school kids out there with their friends, real cheap entry. But tell me about making the decision to do $40 a carload.
I think we're just trying to figure out what the next step is. We're trying to grow the sport and grow with the sport. And I think we need to get more people out. I mean, it's crazy that, when you go to these events and you talk to people in the stands, wow, we never been here. I'm like, wow, you never been here. 60 plus years Maple Grove Raceway has been there. And yeah, first time we brought our family out. It's great, a little expensive, but it's a good time. And I'm like, all right, well, how do we fix that? Obviously everything right now is financially just high, but I think the $40 carload gets some new faces out there. It's good for the sport, good for the sportsman racers. They deserve to be recognized, not just the pros all the time. I think the Lucas Oil divisional guys and girls are badass and they need to be seen.
Exactly. That's it. I went out, I was in Orlando and I was at the Baby Gators and I'm walking around racing Project Pontiac and there's no fans. There's none. And it's these cars are amazing. We could take 10 of these cars and put them in a parking lot at a grocery store and 150 people would show up. They would be like, what are these cars? It'd be amazing. There's some sort of disconnect and maybe this is it. Maybe at least you're trying to do something to fill the place on Saturday night, $40 a carload. I would do it. Hopefully you'll do it as well. What else is new at Maple Grove Raceway? I know you're always improving other than the trench.
We're always doing stuff. A lot of stuff I think this year the fans won't really see, but the racers will see. We're still working on some blacktop stuff. Unfortunately, it takes a lot of engineering plans, permits, stuff like that. So it takes some time. We're in the process of upgrading the lights, which again, it's been a 2-year project, but dealing with these big companies with the electrical and trying to bring power, we're not in a very high populated area, so they don't have a lot of power there. So we're trying to get that because right now a lot of people don't know our lights are ran off generators. We have big old school diesel generators that require so much maintenance. so much love to these things. I mean, it's cool. It's fun. If you're a mechanic, you like to turn wrenches, we'll gladly take you on standby for any of our events. But we're trying to get hooked up to, I call it shore power, main.
Come on back, Chaos. Oh, you got a call. That's what happened. Diesel generators. I didn't know that. That's crazy. Hope he's taking his call right now. Chaos Central. Thank you very much. Now he's about to come back. Listen, we got this whole thing figured out. Kid Chaos. Saturday night of Chaos, Maple Grove Raceway. I'm going to be there. I'll be calling the action, and we're going to have ourselves a good time. They got jets, so I can yell fire, and we're going to have a good time. Anywhere near Maple Grove, you got to come out. But really, Friday and Sunday, too, because of the Lucas Oil Series. Lucas Oil Friday's time runs, of course, and then Saturday is race day, and we're going to have a great time. So join us, Maple Grove Raceway, this Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the night of Chaos. Now, there is a certain window of time. I do want to put it out there. There's a certain window of time. There's a certain window of time, Kid Chaos. I know you got a call. No big deal.
I'm sorry. I don't know how to, I'm not the best tech guy. Is there a way to shut the calls off while we're doing this or no?
I think you got to put do not disturb on. I don't know, though, is the answer. Whatever. You're fine, man. I got you. I'll stall for you. It's no big deal. You're back. What's the window? When does the $40 carload thing start? It's like 3 to 6, right?
Yep, 3 to 6. You can enter on Saturday. Come see the man, the myth, the legend himself, WFO Radio, Joe. And that's kind of how I know. Everyone's Joe NHRA now. I'm still WFO Radio, Joe.
Thank you, and you should be. Like we're during the week and on the off weekends. I am WFO Radio Joe. And on the clock, then I'm NHRA Joe. But either way, we're having a great time. Hey, let's talk about that Factory X car that you drive sometimes. What's the deal with that? I know that car's cool and getting better. When are we going to see you in it next?
We'll be in Virginia, June 20th, end of the month. They were going to do some testing right after the divisional race. But Rob Smith Racing got us a new car, and it's a Jerry Haas car, and we got some good power from Stanfield. And we're still learning. Ken Justice is tuning, and we're kind of just still putting the whole team together and trying to make things flow. And it's a challenge. I was fortunate enough just to drive. I'm still fortunate enough just to drive, but I'm trying to learn more of the chassis, the clutch, the engine, get more involved and really learn the whole deal. I mean, it's not bracket racing. I mean, I go bracket racing, I could turn wrenches and stuff like that, but knowing clutch and chassis, there's so much goes into it. I mean, I always gave the crew chiefs a lot of credit, but I give them even more credit now because there's a lot of stuff going on. But it's fun. It's a cool car. It's not pro stock, but it's close. It's cool. I get to see all my friends out there that I've met over the years racing, and fun. As long as I'm racing, I don't care what I race. I can race super stock or fuel. As long as I'm racing.
Agreed. All right, we're losing you a little bit, Kyle. It's okay. I will see you on Friday. I appreciate you coming on WFO, like taking some time out of the work day. And I will see you on Friday, and we will have ourselves a great time at the House of Chaos, Maple Grove Raceway. Appreciate you. There he goes, Kyle Koretsky. We lost him right at the very end, but we got the gist. Let's say, you got the gist of what's going on. So how far do you need to be from Maple Grove to make it worth your while to go see the Night of Chaos on Saturday night? Right? The McPhillips family, they're going to be burning nitro. They're going to be there with Tater. Great video about Tater Troyer out there put out by the Fent Tractor people, like a bio piece. I shared it in our WFO group on Facebook, and you can check that out. We got like 15,000 followers on our Facebook page. I don't know, guys. I'm a little down on the social media right now, honestly. Tony Stewart spoke for me completely in that rant. But I wouldn't do that. I don't spend too much time on social media. And to be honest, nobody's really attacking me. This is not an invitation. Please don't attack me. I do like the idea of being positive, right? And when you go on there, you're going to get so many negative people, man. They're going to be negative about it. It's going to be negative. I'm pretty happy that we've been able to avoid a lot of that here in the WFO universe. It does make me sad when people get attacked for, doing something that is really hard, for doing something that is really impossible, like this drag racing hobby that we all love, or profession, if you're a professional. It's cruel. It's cruel. So Tony really kind of said some truth out there. What I would encourage people to go out and do it, like build yourself a little sportsman car and go out to Maple Grove on the Saturday night program, the Summit ET Series, and try to win a track championship and then report back. It's so, it's so basic, right? You just stage up a street car. The ambers come on, you go, you get to the finish line first. Don't run under your dial-in. Real easy stuff. You could do it. Anyone can do it. And now you do like what Kyle just said. We're adding clutch. We're adding, professional. Warren Johnson said it the best. Like, it's drag racing is so easy until you put someone else in the other lane trying to do it better than you. And then suddenly it becomes very hard. Let's put your final thoughts in the comment section, guys. I got a couple of things I want to talk to you about. Couple of things that, I want to promote. I want to mention a couple of stories. I want to talk to you about this. Couple of things that I want to talk to you about as we get ready to get up on out of here. Like our Patreon listener club. These are the VIPs, Patreons, patreon.com/WFO Radio. We'll connect with Michael Heiner for a new Pro Stock show. The Monday Motivation, the Ignition show, but it's a secret society. They're the people who support the show directly. They become members. Patreon.com/WFO Radio. They get a little Monday Motivation each week. Appreciate them. Marvin Rodak, RodaksCoffeeandGrills.com. This guy imports coffee from all around the world, everywhere that makes coffee. They don't make coffee in the United States. Did you know that? I didn't really know that until recently. I figured that out, except for Hawaii. They do coffee there. But Marvin's coffee is the best of the best, the top 1% from around the world. And it's shipped right to him. You order it, he roasts it, and then ships it to you. It's really, there's a little oil coming out of the beans. The aroma is amazing. Call him, 817-924-6821. RodaksCoffeeandGrills.com. And Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, a couple of weeks ago, the whole Randy Couture going pro mod racing storyline, which I think is very interesting. They unveiled that car, and I talked to Randy on the starting line, and dude is very serious about this, right? And he keeps crediting his time with Frank Hawley. You can go do that also. Or maybe you just want to do the dragster adventure. Go to frankhawley.com. Go drive dragsters, guys. It's so fun. So much fun. Of course, Fog It. Gary Stinnett's spray, the engine spray. It's really for after you finish racing, but it works on so many other things also. Go to Summit Racing Equipment to get it, or fogit.com. If you have a racing engine like I do now, I'm thinking about it all the time. Like, what's happening inside that thing while it's not running? And the answer is, I know it's protected because I fogged it down. Good stuff. Fogit.com or summitracingequipment.com. Bernie Speed Shop. This is Josh Hart. How about Josh Hart? The team is moving in the right direction. They've won first round 4 races in a row. Bernie's is the home business. They're spreading around the country, but Ocala, Florida is still the mothership. They're a dealership for classic cars, exotic cars, and muscle cars. They're buying your old classic muscle car and they're selling it on consignment or selling it depending on how you want to do it. They do frame off restorations. They do engine work. They do it all at Bernie's. If you want an e-bike, they are really a cornerstone of the community in Ocala. And Josh has done such a great job. Brittany has done such a great job. They're, they're doing events and donating to great causes and charities. It's I'm proud to tell you about Bernie's each week on WFO Radio. So what you can do for me is follow their social media. Just follow their social media. Go to their website. Check out their inventory at Bernie's. HusseyPerformance.net. David Allen, the team. David, you going to be out there this weekend at the Grove? Let's hang out. 412-716-4872. Not just Copperhead gaskets anymore. They got contingency sponsorship, Top Alcohol Dragster, Top Alcohol Funny Car, Top Sportsman, Top Dragster, and the NHRA for Nationals, and Top Sportsman and Top Dragster, PDRA. But they have a great website. You can go to the website, whatever it is you need. They have got the patterns, I guess you would say it. They do make copper still, and they are the best in the business when it comes to locally sourced copper, but now they've expanded beyond. And they did not have to bring their manufacturing back to the United States and America because they never left. HusseyPerformance.net, HUSSEY, performance.net. And we'll be seeing them this weekend. Of course, big thanks to Redline Oil for jumping on board. If you've got a performance car, if you've got a BMW, the Beamer guys, loving the Redline synthetic oil, but anybody can use the Water Wetter product. Anybody. Thank you to CWT Industries, Balance Machines for Machine Shops for supporting WFO Radio, FTI Performance Transmissions and Torque Converters, Total Seal, Guys, we just posted a new episode of Hidden Horsepower. It's all an exercise into teaching you about ring seal and the importance of it and tell you about what's going on with Total Seal. But we did an episode about the old master, remembering Ed Pink, with Frank Hansowitz, the general manager of Ed Pink Racing Engines, and worked with Ed, around Ed, telling great stories about Ed, his methodology, all of those things. Check out the Hidden Horsepower podcast, guys, when you're done with WFO Radio or in the future. And then, of course, Jesse Converters, the DPF X-Fit, which is a replacement for OE trucks, diesels, particulate filters for the converters, catalytic converters, and also the G-Sport brand. The G-Sport brand. And before we get to your comments, one other thing. You guys know that over the past several years, honestly, we've been talking about Project Pontiac, the build project, my dad's car, getting it back on track. And many people have done a great job of telling the story of Project Pontiac. It's been an honor to talk about my own race car. It's been a little weird to talk about my own racing, my job, my profession. What puts food on the table is telling the stories of others. And I have such a great time doing that. And that's why I'll be at Maple Grove this weekend. My primary thing, I think I'm a storyteller. And all these drag racers, they've got such great stories. And it's just about time. That's why I started WFO. That's the reason WFO became the first in 2009 to tell the stories of drag racers. But telling my own story, like, I don't know, it's not a comfort zone for me. Thank goodness other people have taken up the mantle and done it, like Susan Wade on Dragzine. And I just dropped the link in the chat. And if you guys want to check that out, Susan did a really good job. And Brian Wagner posted so many photos, classic photos of Project Pontiac that I sent him. Lift shots, just work shots from TBM breaks, and from my friends Doug and George, my friend Rick McDonough, who put the car together with me. The full story of Project Pontiac is on Dragzine. And I have a funny anecdote that I will share. Yesterday, to the truck that we tow Project Pontiac around in is a GMC 3500 gas burner, my dad's truck. And the other day, you know, it started running a little rough and the check engine light came on. And so there's been this mechanic shop nearby that I'm kind of like trying to learn if they're trustworthy, right? So I had them work on my mom's car and they're nearby. All my mechanic friends have all retired, honestly, or died or aged out. Like everybody that I trusted moved away. Everybody knows, like, finding a trustworthy mechanic is really the number one thing. You got to have somebody you trust. And so this is a mechanic shop that's close to my house, and I've been seeing them for many, many years. So I brought my mom's car to do a little something, and I'm like, all right, like checking out their vibe. So the other day I go in there to ask them if they will look at the truck. And they're like, oh, what's this? What do you do with this truck? And I was like, I tow something. And they're like, what do you tow? It's like, I tow a race car. And they're like, oh my gosh, what kind of a race car? It's like, go to Dragzine. And so they go to Dragzine, and they're all looking at the story. And there's a picture with me and Rick Hendrick. It was crazy. It was a crazy experience. Very fun experience. And now they're working on the truck. I got to pick it up here in a few minutes. Trustworthy mechanic, so hard to find in the world. But check out the Dragzine story. Hopefully Project Pontiac going to be back on track at some point later on this year. Right now, like, our big thing is my big thing. It's not our big thing. It's my big thing is I don't want to go to the track and be disorganized again. The first time out, I was disorganized, but I had to make a deadline to make Orlando and Gainesville. So I literally had like a pile of stuff. And Michael Scott at Reich Trailers, like, they set up our trailer to go down the road. And I recommend them customer service wise forever. 83331 right. They treated me so well. Like, you got to go to the video. You could see why I'm like blown away to this day. They put us so far ahead with the project. But one thing that, you know, they made the trailer roadworthy. It's not organized. Where does my floor jack go? Where do my tie straps go? Where am I going to sit? Where am I going to stay? Am I going to be able to sit down? That was one of the things in Gainesville that got me. I didn't sit down all day long. I was going all day. I learned that you got to pace yourself. You've got to monitor your energy. You've got to keep in the zone. You can't just be up and on your feet all day, every second of the day, and be ready to compete. At least I wasn't. Maybe other people can, but I wasn't. And so what we're going to do with Project Pontiac is spend a little time organizing our trailer and then get back out there when we have a shot, I think, to win the race. Out there at Route 66, just want to show you a couple of photos. One of the cars that was in the traffic on the way out of there. And I just thought that's what drag racing is all about. Badass hot rod, literal badass hot rod. When the Haboob rolled through, just nuts. You want to be in that? Jason Logan and I went out into it. Photo of Brian Hewson. You know, Sean Langdon a couple of weeks ago, he and I were laughing about Brian Hewson. And I think this shot shows it all. Like, Brian is becoming, like, I'm a big fan of this guy. I'm a big fan of his character because he was the right-hand man of Alan Johnson for so many years. And now he's his own guy. And the hat's backwards and the character is cool. And it's very interesting. I saw him like studying. This is the moment that Sean and I talked about a couple of weeks ago. Pro Mod cars. What we're seeing in the Congruity HR Pro Modified series is sick in a good way. But Tom Bailey from Sick the Magazine just ran 263 miles an hour and became the fastest car door slammer, suspended door slammer in NHRA history. And it just had me thinking, like, wow, I want to make sure everybody understands why. The reason the Congruity HR Pro Mod cars are a little slower than Tom Bailey's car, even though it drives on the street and maybe weighs more, because Tom Bailey has unlimited. Whereas Pro Modified is a regulated category where they're taking multiple power adders and they're leveling the playing field. If it was just unlimited, wide open, it would be a much different situation. People ask that question a lot. Jack Beckman was very happy in the winner's circle. Freiberger got in the winner's circle, got dragged into the winner's circle with Fast Jack. So did I. Jack invited me into the winner's circle to take a picture with him and the trophy. I was like, nah. And he's like, you better do it. And I was like, okay. It was great. The Yeti, this guy, he's committed. Why am I showing this photograph? Because the Yeti, like any sporting event where you got guys walking around just like this, is a better sporting event. Now in Australia, that's a bad thing, what he's doing. But in America, it's just like, what's up? But way to go, Yeti. And I think that's a new suit. And what's this one? In the media center with Tony Stewart. Alex Owens holding up the Wally, the 25th anniversary Wally. Just a great event. If Tony Stewart continues to ascend, it's going to be wild because Sean Langdon wants a championship and Doug Coletta wants another championship. And Justin Ashley is Justin Ashley. You need not say anything about Justin and his talent and abilities. And oh, by the way, there's Antron Brown and Brittany Force and Tony Stewart. Top Fuel is ludicrous competitive. If you can't, now you're watching WFO, so of course you can. But the people that Tony is like courting to come into the sport, right? New fans, former NASCAR fans or whatever. If you can't find someone to connect with out of all of those people, and the ones that I didn't even mention, like Sean Reed, we have got it going on right now. This sport has got it going on right now. It is amazing. And I'm very, very excited. All right, let's see what the final comments are, and then we'll get on out of here. We'll bounce all of those different things. David Payne. What's up, David? Good hanging out with you out there. Parks, I'll be at Maple Grove. Hopefully someone from my family is still in competition on Sunday, so I don't want to be watching the 500. I'm hoping we'll be able to watch the 500 there. C5 Pete, what's up, WFO fam? Keith Kaufman posted this. NHRA promotes gambling too much. I disagree, Keith. I know that's your opinion, and some people disagree. They're trying to turn it into a leg of revenue source, as it is for so many other sports. And drag racing fans have never been able to gamble on their sport. So they say you got to say something 9 times before people even hear it. Like subscribe to WFO Radio, click the bell down there, 9 times before even people hear it. So I don't think you can promote it too much. I don't think it can be promoted too much before someone scans the QR code. Like there's a hurdle. Got to scan the QR code to find out what's legal in your area. You got to decide that you got to pick one of maybe multiple choices. You got to fund your account. You're going to get some bonus money, by the way. They got bonus money now, right? Like if you put in X amount, they're going to give you X back to make it worth your while. But I think we're not promoting it enough, honestly. He says, I don't even bet on fantasy football. I keep my money in my pocket. Yeah, what is it? $20 a race, dude. Come on, man. I think it made you the time you win when your driver wins the race, then you will understand. As someone who did, I won $300 on Brian Vickers once. And I was like, oh, yeah. Remember at Talladega when he crashed Dale Jr.? Yeah. I had him at 31. Pretty good. He also says, go Panthers. Yes. Everybody's rooting for the Florida Panthers to go back-to-back in Stanley Cup finals. Integrity Racing says, we have a junior super gas roadster. Joe loved it at the Baby Gators. Yes, I know you guys. That video got a ton of views, by the way. Still gets tons of views. Good job. Monica will be at the House of Chaos this weekend. Will you? WFO Joe and Kyle. Yeah, we miss you in Pro Stock, Kyle. We totally do. Let's see what else. Ralph's in Central Florida checking it out. What a great chance to load all my kids and friends to the drag strip for the first time. That's right, Dale. That's what people should do. You load up all the kids and the neighbors' kids, and they want to bring their friends, and you're like, I can't afford to bring all the neighbors' kids. What are you doing, Reggie? And this time you can do it. Bring them all. Everybody who can fit in the car. Let's see what else. I'm scanning. I love that everyone's having a chat down there. Ordered 2 cans of Faggot this weekend. Way to go, Parks. Thanks for keeping us in business. Thank you. Wish Bernie's had a 68 Barracuda. Are you sure that they don't? Let's tell Josh. Yeah, Keith says buy a Project Pontiac shirt. There was a guy out there wearing a Project Pontiac shirt in the stands. People were texting like, I got 10 pictures of this guy from all kinds of different people. What does WFO stand for? Wet furry otters. Cute little otters, all, bathing in the open stream. It's good stuff. People have been betting on races in the stands since it started. It's very smart of NHRA to capitalize on that. Right. But getting them to understand that you go online and do DraftKings and pick the odds and all that, that's another layer. But we're doing it. We're getting there. Just got to keep working it. All right, guys. Big thanks to everybody who said hi. Shout out to Route 66 Raceway in Chicago, Chi-Town. Brittany, Austin, and Jack did a great job in the media press conference. Tony Stewart. The comment he made about social media is not the best comment that he made in the media center. There was another comment that hopefully we will have at some point during the week. I am hoping Tony, who's having a birthday today, by the way, happy birthday, Tony Stewart. Hopefully Tony is available to be on the show next week before New England. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But I'm hoping he is, because he made a comment about NASCAR and the versus NHRA. NASCAR versus NHRA, and what's better, to have your competitors be your friends or to have them be your enemies, is really kind of the road he went down. And it was really interesting. And I'll just give you like one of the many quotes that was in the middle of it. He goes, I haven't seen my phone, but I guarantee you, I have got a text from Justin Ashley and Mike Ashley, Justin's dad, congratulating me on beating them. He goes, I've never had that in my life where these people wanted to beat me so badly, but when I beat them, we are all friends and there's great respect. And it's so much better to have this the way it is in the NHRA. And he says the NHRA thinks they need to be like NASCAR and have people hate each other, but they're wrong. This is actually better. And we need to promote this, because it's better for people's, I don't know if he said their soul, but he said something like that. And it was like, wow, thank you for reinforcing maybe what we have felt all along. All right, guys, thanks to Jason Galvin. Of course, thanks to Fast Jack. Thanks to Kid Chaos and Gaige. Appreciate all you guys. The archive is loaded. Hit that drag scene article. Wow. WFO.